Can I beat Pokemon Emerald with only a Slowpoke? This is a question I've been asking myself for the better part of a year, but never really went through with it. Until today, I finally decided to attempt to beat one of my favorite generations with my favorite Pokemon. So without a further ado, this is how my adventure begins. It all begins with us moving to our new little town, Littleroot, where we get introduced to our neighbors and quickly find a small scene happening outside, where Professor Bird seems to be getting mauled by a tiny trespasser, so we quickly take out a Pokeball that conveniently happens to inhabit a Slowpoke. So we quickly deal with that issue and start our adventure properly. Speaking about starting adventures, there is an adventure that I am happily waiting towards called Elestrals Awakend is a 2D monster catching RPG inspired by Greek mythology that I am excitedly waiting towards, mainly because I have recently been introduced to a small Elestrals creature called Sundial. And just like with Slowpoke, I am a fanatic who likes sticking to favorites, and something about this small sand-like crocodile has stuck to me. Elestrals Awakend has over 100 plus different creatures to capture and choose from, so you're sure to find your favorite to have an amazing battle with. Speaking about battles, Elestrals has a mechanic where you have to spend a specific amount of spirits in order to do actions, and spirits happen to work as both your life point and as your energy resource, so you're not necessarily restricted in your actions, but there is a drawback in doing too much. So if you're interested by any of this, go check out the Elestrals Awakend Kickstarter campaign and possibly be eternalized as a possible NPC or a caster in-game. Thank you for sponsoring today's video, and let's move on to our next adventure. So first in line we have Meg, who we quite unsurprisingly defeat with relative ease before making our way to Petalburg City. There we happen to crash into our dad and help a kid out before eventually not really caring about the plot, since I've played this game more than once. So skipping all the unimportant parts, I grind my Slowpoke to level 15, learn Water Gun, and go on to one-shot every single Pokemon in Roxanne's gym. Then I recall I can get a quick line this time to somewhat solve my embarrassingly low speed stat and go on to kick this random grunt's ass so we can move the plot. And once again, I unsurprisingly defeat May. And with that we can go talk to an old man and his illegal pet to get into Dewford Town, where we have to do a quick side quest before grinding ourselves to level 20 so we learn Confusion, so we can once again one-shot every single Pokemon Brawly has. So we make our way to Slateport, where we defeat a couple grunts for XP so we can fight May again. And by some miracle, I managed to defeat the Crowbile, who has pursued with a lucky Confusion and escapes Slugma with 9 HP left. So then in preparation to the Electric type gym, I go and do a little bit of grinding. So I level my Slowpoke by 19 extra levels from 23 all the way to 42, so I can have even a sliver of a chance at this gym. So I managed to take down the Voltorb with a lucky critical hit on my headbutt, but not without taking half my HP away. Then Watson sends out his Electrike, so I trade another blow to land a Yawn, so then I heal myself till the Electrike falls asleep, defeat him with a single headbutt, and have Watson send out his Manectra. I once again go for Yawn, and he paralyzes me in return, so when eventually he falls asleep, I simply cure my paralysis, and before I'm able to finish it off, Watson simply switches his Pokemon to Magneton, so unsurprisingly to anyone, I once again go for Yawn. So, with most of Watson's Pokemon being asleep, the rest is easy. Then we go on to Blue Ball Slowpoke out of his metamorphosis. And I'm gonna follow that by Blue Balling you, the viewers, out of content, because I took a small break after the Watson fight and returned shortly after to continue, and I made quite a nice bit of progress till I realized I wasn't recording, so you're gonna miss out on Flannery, but I'll be honest and say you missed out on nothing, because those fire types had nothing compared to my pink hippo. So next on my agenda is to go beat my dad back at the Petalburg City. But before I challenge him, I grinded my Slowpoke to level 48 so it learns Psychic, the most powerful move this poor pink hippo will ever get. And as much as I'd like to say that Norman was a challenge, it wasn't a challenge. My slightly overleveled Slowpoke turned both of those lackings into a bunch of greasy mobs. So I get the TM for Surf, teach it to my Slowpoke, and go on my merry way to see the weather station, which is now infested by a bunch of Team Aqua grunts. So I make a quick walk of them and head on my way towards our next rival fight, which is a breeze. So next we find ourselves at 4-3 City, so we get our hands on the Devon Scope from Steven and enter the 6th gym. And I'm not gonna lie, this felt like more of a struggle than Watson. So with the 6th gym out of the way, we head out to the peak of Mount Pyre to interrupt Team Aqua once again, but they managed to steal something and escape. So now we go on a long-form side quest to infiltrate both Team Magma's and Team Aqua's base and fight their respective leaders. And would you believe me if I said that my level 50 Slowpoke was more than enough to handle it? So with that extended background shenanigans, we go out to the open ocean to find our next challenge, the 7th gym. See, the 7th gym is built upon double battles, so I am forced to bring out a second Pokemon. But thankfully for me, I have my trustworthy H-Champ Slave, and we can just handle it with that? Maybe? So, after struggling a little bit on my 1v2, I head out to the open ocean once again to stop Team Aqua and Magma trying to recreate a kaiju fight. But I'm seemingly too late and have to fight Archie with mild success, but it does not change the outcome and the two behemoths start their fight. So the only other thing we can do in order to stop this kaiju fight is to summon a third kaiju to fight. So with all of that out of the way, we can finally continue our main objective, the 8th gym. So, I forgot to mention that my Slowpoke has now learned the TM Calm Mind thanks to their 7th gym and now has become an unstoppable setup mon capable of one-shotting practically everything. So with that on mind, I have no issues or doubts about heading to the Victory Road where we fight Wally and his new team. So after that pathetic display of power from Wally, we keep on going till we make it to the Elite Four. I now only have a couple struggles ahead of me before I can officially beat Pokemon Emerald, and those are mainly the Dark-type Elite Trainer and the Ghost-type Elite Trainer, though Sydney ends up being a complete pushover at the end of the day, and I had to do nothing else but stack up Calm Minds and sweep the entire team. Next up we have Phoebe, who is a slight problem because he has a Dusclops which will most of the time go for Protect during turn 1, so it gets us a chance to set up with Calm Mind, but the problem is that I can't kill Dusclops in time in most of my tries before it goes for the move Curse, which will absolutely destroy me. So I needed to try over and over again till I got to my 28th attempt where I finally got the perfect RNG with the AI. So with Phoebe, our biggest obstacle out of the way, the last two Elite Four trainers felt like a breeze in comparison. The only thing I had to worry about was the wall rain getting a sheer cold on me, but that thankfully never happened. So with the Elite Four out of the way, there is only one thing for me to do. Well, honestly, this was way easier than I thought it was gonna be. Late game Slowpoke with Calm Mind can do a surprising amount of damage with just a little over leveling. So, thank you for watching the video, and see you in the next one. Bye.